I've watched a lot of anime over the years, and while the big titles always get the spotlight, there are so many hidden gems that deserve way more attention. Today, I want to share 10 underrated anime that I've personally watched and absolutely recommend if you're looking for something fresh, unique, and unforgettable. Some of these are emotional, some are intense, and some are just pure chaotic fun, but they all left a mark on me, and I think they'll do the same for you. So grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's dive in. Kicking things off at number 10 is 91 Days. If you're a fan of mafia dramas like The Godfather or Peaky Blinders, this anime is going to blow you away. It's set during the Prohibition era and follows Angelo, a man on a cold and calculated quest for revenge against the crime family that destroyed his life. What really hooked me was the atmosphere. Every scene feels heavy with tension. The storytelling is sharp, the pacing is perfect, and the characters are written so well that you almost start sympathizing with the villains. And that ending? Let's just say it's one of those finales that stays with you for days. I binged this in one go because I literally couldn't stop, and if you love a good revenge story with a dark twist, this is a must-watch. At number 9, we have Rocker, Braves of the Six Flowers. I discovered this one randomly, and I went in with zero expectations, and wow, I was blown away. It's a fantasy adventure where 6 chosen heroes band together to defeat an ancient evil, but when they all meet, there are 7 of them. That mystery alone keeps you hooked the entire time. What I love about Rocker is how it blends action, mystery, and clever character dynamics. It's not just about fighting monsters, it's about trust, betrayal, and figuring out who you can really rely on when everything's on the line. The world building is stunning, too. The landscapes, the culture, the magic system, everything feels unique and alive. If you've been craving a fantasy anime that does something different from the usual formula, this one's a gem. Number 8 is Akame ga Kill. When I first started this anime, I thought, okay, another flashy action show, but man, was I wrong. The story of Night Raid, a group of assassins fighting against a corrupt empire, is brutal, emotional, and filled with shocking twists. One thing you need to know going in, don't get too attached to anyone. This anime pulls no punches when it comes to killing off characters, and that's what makes it so intense. Every battle feels like it has real stakes, and the emotional impact of those losses hits hard. The fight scenes are beautifully animated, and the weapons, the Imperial arms, are some of the coolest abilities I've seen in anime. This is one of those series that keeps you on the edge of your seat, episode after episode. At number 7, we have Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. This anime is special to me because it takes a completely different approach to the stuck in another world genre. Instead of overpowered protagonists, you get a group of characters who are just human. They struggle to survive, they make mistakes, they mourn their losses, and that makes their journey feel so much more real. The art style is absolutely breathtaking. Every frame looks like a watercolor painting, and it gives the whole series this calm, almost melancholic vibe. And the soundtrack? Just beautiful. I remember watching this during a quiet weekend, and even now, years later, there are moments and emotions from this anime that I still think about. If you want a show that's both emotional and visually stunning, Grimgar deserves a spot on your list. Coming in at number 6 is Gleipnir. Okay, hear me out. This anime is weird, but in the best way possible. The story follows a boy who can transform into a giant mascot suit, and a girl who literally climbs inside him to fight in a deadly survival game. Sounds wild, right? But trust me, beneath that crazy premise is a dark, psychological story that's surprisingly deep. What makes Gleipnir so good is how it explores themes like trust, identity, and what people are willing to do to survive. The violence is intense, the mystery keeps you hooked, and the emotional beats hit harder than you'd expect. This is one of those shows that proves underrated doesn't mean bad, it means unique, and Gleipnir is definitely one of a kind. Number 5 is Erased, or Boku de Garin Imachi. I still remember the first time I watched this. I hit play on episode 1 and didn't stop until the very end. The story follows Satoru, a man who can travel back in time moments before a tragedy happens. But when a terrible crime occurs, he's sent all the way back to his childhood to prevent a series of kidnappings and murders. What makes Erased so powerful isn't just the suspense, it's the emotional core of the story. Watching Satoru reconnect with his childhood, form bonds, and try to protect the people he loves makes you deeply invested in the outcome. And the way the mystery unravels is so satisfying. If you're a fan of thrillers or shows that keep you guessing while also tugging at your heartstrings, you need to add Erased to your watch list. At number 4, we have Terror in Resonance, or Zankyu no Terror. This anime is pure brilliance. Directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, yes, the genius behind Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. It tells the story of 2 mysterious boys who carry out a series of bombings across Tokyo, leaving cryptic clues for the police to solve. But this isn't just about explosions and cat and mouse chases. It's a deeply emotional story about trauma, loss, and the desperate need to be understood in a world that feels broken. And can we talk about the soundtrack? Yoko Kanno delivers one of the most beautiful, haunting scores I've ever heard in an anime. Every track perfectly captures the mood of each scene, making the entire experience unforgettable. If you want something thought-provoking and cinematic, Terror in Resonance is a must-watch. Number 3 is Kaiji, Ultimate Survivor. This is, hands down, one of the most intense anime I've ever seen. It follows Kaiji, a down-on-his-luck guy who gets dragged into high-stakes underground gambling where losing doesn't just mean losing money, it could cost you your life. What makes Kaiji so incredible is the psychological tension. Every gamble, every game, every decision feels like life or death, and you can't help but sit on the edge of your seat as you watch Kaiji try to outthink his opponents. And the crazy thing? It's not even about luck, it's about human nature. Greed, fear, desperation. This show lays it all bare, and it's fascinating. If you want an anime that will have you yelling at your screen in suspense, Kaiji is the one. At number 2, we have Dead Man Wonderland. This one is dark, twisted, and completely unforgettable. It follows Gonta, a boy falsely accused of murdering his classmates, who's thrown into a prison that doubles as a brutal amusement park where inmates fight for their lives for the entertainment of the public. The concept is wild, but what really stands out is how brutal and emotional the story gets. The characters are fascinating, the powers, called branches of sin, are unique and visually stunning, and the stakes just keep getting higher and higher. I'll be honest, the anime doesn't adapt the full story from the manga, but what we did get is still absolutely worth watching. If you want something intense with a dark edge, Dead Man Wonderland will stick with you. And finally, at number 1, we have Blood Blockade Battlefront. I can't recommend this one enough. Set in a city where the human world collides with the supernatural, this anime is pure, organized chaos, and it's glorious. Every episode feels like a roller coaster. One moment you're laughing at the ridiculous antics of the characters, and the next, you're blown away by some of the most creative and beautiful action scenes you've ever seen. The animation is top tier, the characters are wild and lovable, and the soundtrack, absolute perfection. What I love most is how it balances chaos with heart. Beneath all the crazy battles and supernatural madness, there are stories about family, friendship, and what it means to keep moving forward in a world that never stops changing. If there's one anime on this list that you pick up, make it Blood Blockade Battlefront. You won't regret it. So there you have it, 10 underrated anime that I've personally watched and think every anime fan needs to experience. From dark psychological thrillers to emotional journeys to pure chaotic fun, there's something here for everyone. Which of these have you seen? And which one are you adding to your watch list next? Drop your answers in the comments. I'd love to see your picks for underrated anime too. And hey, if you found a new gem today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I've got plenty more hidden anime recommendations coming your way.